Well, we all know that September the 11th is coming up, and we know what that means, but the day that follows September the 11th will always stand out to me, too, because that's the day that Johnny Cash passed away. 8 years ago. It seems like it hadn't been no time, but it has been 8 years. And I love that song that Cousin Kenny sang about country music got a hold on me. This is the truth. The first two records I ever owned in my life when I was a kid down in Mississippi was Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs' Greatest Hits and The Fabulous Johnny Cash. And the only two jobs I ever had in my life was Lester Flatt and Johnny Cash, so that worked out pretty good, you know. And that's the music that set my heart on fire. And I didn't want to go to Los Angeles. I didn't want to go to New York. I wanted to come to Nashville and be a part of country music's family. And so that worked out, too. I like it. Connie and I actually wound up living next door to John and June over in Hendersonville, Tennessee, up in Hendersonville, Tennessee from here. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss him, especially when we're home. I think when I'm on the road, I can pretend that we're all just out working or something, but when I go home, and you know, even the house is gone now, so there's nothing except just a pile of rocks. But his spirit lives, and he talks to me, and he still inspires me, so that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of man and the legacy he is, you know. But here's the other thing. Between our houses, there's a beautiful piece of ground. And in the 1960s, Roy Orbison had a home there. And a lot of old-time Nashvilleians will remember Roy had a tragedy on that piece of ground. His boys were playing with hairspray and cigarette lighter. And it caught the house on fire and burned it down and took the boys' lives. So, of course, he never wanted to live there again. So he sold that property to John. And John made Roy a vow that he would never build anything on that property. He'd always only plant things to bring life back to the property. And his version of that was trees. And it was all fruit trees. He planted pecan trees, apple trees, pear trees, you know, cherry bush, fig bush. It was just a beautiful sanctuary that he set out and raised, and now they're majestic old trees. And after he passed away, me and Connie bought that piece of ground from John Carter and the family. And so today it's still just like he left it, all the trees that are left. And here's the thing. After he passed away, I tried to do what a lot of songwriters around the world did. I tried to write me a song about my old friend to make me feel better. And nothing ever would come, so I just forgot about it. But in the springtime, when the fruit starts coming on those trees, I get a big visit from the crows. And I don't know about you all, but I dearly love crows because they're really weird birds and they dress like Johnny Cash. And that's important. So one day I was in the orchard in the spring, and this old crow was hanging around up in one of those trees, and he was just raising Cain. You know, I thought, that reminds me of JR. That's what I call John. And so, on the inspiration of that old crow, I went home, and the next morning I got up and heaven sent down a song. And so I want to do this for John tonight, my friend and yours. It's called Dark Bird. On a cool September morning in the fall of 203, a crier from Jerusalem brought the news to me. His words were sharp and dreaded, they made a lonesome sound. They snapped my heart in two like a stick stepped on the ground. Well, I cried and cried and cried at the cutting of the pain, and I quietly said goodbye, so long in Jesus' name. Dark bird, watch you fly, dark bird to another sky. I'll bet you were a sight when you hit that cloud of love and flew out the other side. Form of a dove, dark bird, dark bird. 6'1" and a box of steel and a pretty coat of black. Well, I watch the world, watch themselves, watch her final act. I couldn't help but notice when we'd laid you in the earth. A train went by, headed north, for whatever it is worth. Your voice echoes in the wind, it rumbles through the trees. But after you've been everywhere, I guess it's time to leave. Dark bird, watch you fly. Dark bird to another sky. I'll bet you were a sight when you hit that cloud of love and flew out the other side. In the form of a dove, dark